and welcome. Today's book review is going to be on Rain and Cash, the first two books of the Henchmen MC series by Jessica Gadaziala. I've read all the way up to Cyrus, and what I'm going to do is do these book reviews with one or two, maybe three books in each video so that it doesn't take quite as long for me to do all the reviews. If I did them individually, we'd be talking several months. But I do want to review these books, especially because I started this series as a recommendation by Jessica when I was having some issues, I guess is the best way to say it, with one of her other books. So I started with the Malik brothers, and then I read For a Good Time Call, and that's Fee's book, and then Dark Mysteries, because I found her read order list on her website, so I went back to Dark Mysteries so that I got them all. Anyways, when I read Dark Mysteries, I felt like that book didn't quite fit, especially not after reading the Malik brothers and Fee's book, and those felt really cohesive. So Jessica suggested I read this series, and I'm really glad she did, and I want to talk about that. But before we talk about the series, I need to do a couple of things. One is let you guys know there are triggers in this series. Jessica does a great job. She tells you in the book, and I believe in the description of the book, to go to her website and look up all the different triggers for each individual book. But I will tell you, there is some very graphic scenes, more graphic than anything I think I've ever read when it comes to some really dark situations. So just definitely make sure you check that out. Also, this series is more erotic than any of the other books I've read by Jessica. I think that has something to do with the fact that this is a motorcycle club. They just in general are more gritty. Then also, I would just point out that especially in Rain, the vocabulary is a lot more rough, I guess is the best way to say it. So with Rain, pretty much the word women and bitches are interchangeable. Not in a degrading way. It just, I think maybe the way that Rain was raised by a man who ran a motorcycle club, he just is very rough, and the terminology he uses is a little rough because of it. That's not always the case, especially, each individual book is about a different member of the motorcycle club, and Jessica gives them a different voice. So not everybody is going to be like that, but Rain especially is, and that's the first book, so I just thought I'd warn you. Okay, so I think the first thing I need to talk about is the issue I had with the Dark Mysteries book, which was that I didn't feel like it was necessary, and quite frankly, I guess I would consider a bonus book. Rain does an incredible job. It's like the center of the universe so far, where not only does the book talk about the Malik brothers, Xander, which is the guy in Dark Mysteries, he mentions Fee. Kay is not only going to be in Rain, but in Repo. He's going to play a really big role. Anyways, so this series does pull all of that together. It was exactly what I was looking for. Jessica was very right in saying that if I moved to this series, I'd be happier. I really don't have a lot to add about Rain that I haven't already mentioned. It did exactly what I wanted it to do, and it was perfect. Cash, when I started reading it, I was beyond excited because that book includes Lo. I've been in love with her since, I want to say it was Ryan's book of the Malik brothers. She runs Hellstorm, which is a paramilitary group. You have everyone in this facility from ex-military, there's medical staff, profilers, computer hackers. Anybody with the talent is welcome there, and they're basically survivalists. It's a really cool compound, and I just found her to be an amazing character. She does play a part in Rain, but then when you go to Cash, she is half of the book. Lo finds herself in a horrible situation, which is that her ex-husband, who was abusive, comes back, and she doesn't want to involve Hellstorm because she doesn't want her men to think she's weak, and so she goes to Cash for help. I really think that this story could have gone bad really quickly because Lo is supposed to be a total badass. She runs Hellstorm, and then you have her ex-husband come back, and physically she should be able to handle herself. She runs a paramilitary group. The only thing I think saved that storyline was the fact that Jessica wrote the ex-husband very, very thoughtfully. He's huge. I think that, I forget the exact measurements, but basically a linebacker. I mean, over 6 foot tall and over 200 pounds. And Lo is not a very big person. She does have moments of, being able to inflict pain on the ex-husband, but for the most part, he's too big for her to win that fight. And I liked the fact that it came down to, she just physically was outmatched, and there was not a whole lot that her expertise could do. If she didn't have a gun or a weapon, physically there was just no way she could stand her ground with him. And then on top of him being huge, he's a very well trained and recognized Marine. He's gotten awards for being a hero, and then he also has all these friends that would stand up for him, and it puts Lo in a very precarious situation. And on top of all of that, they've been divorced for over 10 years. She has no reason to assume he's going to come back, so he definitely has the element of surprise on her. I really kind of wish she wasn't held in a basement, because I definitely felt like the first couple books there was this basement thing. But I think that has to do with the fact that I read the books out of order. So I started with Dark Mysteries, and that included a basement too, and my brain just had a hard time removing that when I started reading this series. Overall though, very good. I have no idea how Jessica was able to get me addicted to this series, because just the honest truth is, I don't read dark, gruesome stories. And this series is dark and it's gruesome, and it has some really serious life situations that happen. The fact that she was able to write the characters so well that it got me hooked on them just speaks to how incredible this series is. Next week's book review will be on Wolf and Repo. And it was really funny because as I was reading each book, I thought, oh, this is my favorite. And then I would keep going, and this is my favorite. And I thought that with Wolf, I thought that with Duke. Oh my gosh, I'm reading Cyrus right now. So completely in love with that book. I just think there's so many amazing characters through this series that you're going to find yourself falling in love. If you like this book review, go and like it. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave those down below. And if you want my reviews every week, subscribe. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you again soon.